Are there any questions? And I hope that's useful.
So for me, I guess it's more of a comment than a question. I see this being very useful with me and my son. He's just finished up the school year and keeping organized during the summer. I see this is something that he can use, myself as well, with just getting tasks done.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Emmanuel. It's, for me, everything is about working to who you are and your own strengths and your own powers. And I think that young children are naturally creative. And I think what I like about this is it's an alternative to getting, because you can see why young people want to use a device, because some of these apps are just so brilliant, and I'm learning about it on my course. And these ones that organize things like Trello and, you know, notice boards and all this, you can see why they wouldn't see the benefit of doing it on paper. But what we also know, just as a fact, is that something else happens when you put pen to paper, and especially when you get creative with it. And it is only through trying it you'll see, but it is relaxing.
Yeah. And you know, I was reading an article the other day. It said if you still write things down on paper instead of your phone, psychology says you display 8 unique traits that, you know, help with brain development and memory.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, I think we all know. I think we all know what it doesn't take a genius. And I think when I say we, I'm saying older generations in truth, because we had years of not having this stuff, so we know what it's like to not have this stuff. So welcome, Gabe. Hi, Gabriel. We're just finishing off the workshop, and then we're going to write.
Okay, how y'all doing?
Happy Saturday.
Yeah, same to you.
How's our little angel?
He's getting big and chunky.
He is lovely, man. We love him. We're just talking about the benefits of still writing, of getting a pen and paper out and actually writing something down rather than typing it up or using a device. And it's a bit like an analogy, that's a rough analogy, but analogy I can think of is some, you know, young people thinking that by always playing computer games, they know how to be if a war broke out. But it's not real. And in a real war with a real gun and a real adversary, you know, you're not going to know. It's not the same. And it's not the same to look on a device and press on a device as it is to sit. We as beings, I don't even know. It's just deep, I think. I mean, chip in, guys, and I'll be done in a minute. But I just think it's so deep what we're able to do. But we have to use the human vessel, you know. And things like writing just do something different. Things like speaking, as Emmanuel again has confirmed and expressed quite a lot in his music and in conversation, just does something different. You know, saying something out loud, making a command, writing something down and making a command. So yeah, that's why I'm an advocate of bullet journaling, because I'm not exaggerating how much it helped me to order my mind and calm myself down. It really, when I left my job and I was going into this self-employed and building a business, and I was really anxious in truth, that's where I've got loads, absolutely loads, a book just full of it. And all the kind of plans that I put in there through bullet journaling have in one way or another manifested. So I think it helps as well, the visual side of it, putting pictures on. And that essentially is it. Any other questions or any comments about bullet journaling?
I would say, well, because I haven't really said anything. Yeah, I was going to say that I think that writing is better than typing, just because it's like it's a different type of muscle memory. Like, yeah, typing can hurt your hands and whatnot, but it's like I don't know, you're looking at a screen that's created by somebody else rather than the words that you created on the page. Like, I don't know, there's something about it like being written and knowing it came from you rather than being typed. And it's like on a screen that's created by somebody else. But then again, what I was thinking is like writing is kind of like taking a walk or something. Like I had read about before, like taking walks obviously help you think in like every step, like help circulate blood flow and that nature. I think the same way about writing. Like, you know, you write so long your hand starts to hurt, or I feel like it just, I don't know, it's a different type of muscle build when you just continue to write rather than type in a general sense. It connects different.
Thank you, Gabriel.
The comment that I wanted to make, and this is something that we were talking about earlier, I feel like the physical act of writing helps to regulate my nervous system. When you are physically writing, to me, that's like movement, and it's the process of getting what's here out, transitioning it into another form, another form of energy. So it's energy and a chemical process here, but as it, you know, I imagine it going from my head down my arm into the paper and transforming that energy, transmuting that energy into something beautiful, something useful. So that was one of the thoughts that came to my mind. And I remember being in school and we were studying about technology. And one of the authors, I can't remember his name right now, was saying that Black folks are technology, right? And that the act of the pencil or the pen or the writing utensil is technology. And that because like it's been a part of us all our lives. And the example that was given was the cotton gin and how a Black man invented that. And so they didn't need so many people in the field picking cotton. But so that was something that came to mind. And then the last thought that I had is what I think is interesting is I noticed that I like phones that have a stylus. And I know that you can use something like that on an iPad. So I noticed that I like to blend technology and what I'm used to together. So I love the fact of writing on my phone or writing on an iPad, and all I need is the little pen or stylus. So I'm still writing, but I'm blending the old and the new together. You know what I'm saying? So that was the other thing that came to my mind when you were talking about bullet journaling.
Yeah, because my daughters do that. There's an app that they use to do their notes for revision. Excuse me. I'm not feeling very well, I'll be honest. I'm a bit rough today, but their notes are pristine on this app, and like you say, they use a stylus, a pen for it. And on my course the other day, we were having this conversation, and everybody who is more around, they're probably 40 and above, the class that I'm in, age 40 and above, and everybody was saying, he was like, what systems are you using? And everyone was using paper-based systems. And the reason people were doing that in terms of planning and stuff, everybody was saying, we like paper. I like to write. I like to see what I'm doing. And one of the participants said, you can get, there's like a cover thing you can get for like an iPad, which when you're using a stylus makes it feel like paper. Yeah, I was like, I might try that. So what you've said is the way forward, definitely, because the thing with paper, obviously, as we know, and as the world turns, is it takes up space, you know, and it's not, unless you really invested in keeping those things and you've got somewhere to store it. But yeah, I'm with you, Victoria. And I think for me, I'm so old school in certain things. I just love writing. I love, you know, and I've got a bit of an obsession with making my handwriting neat and Because when we were at school, that was a big deal. You got marked up for neat handwriting. And if you don't write neat in an exam, they can't read what your answer. You know, so even still my daughter's generation, they still got to write neat or their work can't get marked. So, you know, yeah, there's an art to it all. All right.
Oh, my bad. One more thing, and then we'll start.
Hi, sweetie. Hello. Hi. How are you?
One thing I thought about also is that how, I don't know, when you're writing, paper is created from nature, from like trees and leaves. I feel like that has something to play a part of it rather than something that's created by man, technology. I know it's not still living tree paper, but still comes from it. That's something that popped in my head thinking about.
It's why you're a deep dude, Gabriel. It's why you are a deep dude. Because I think the more I learn anyway on this amazing journey, it's things like that, what you're saying. You know, the more natural you go, the better it is, the healthier you feel. Do you know what I mean? And the more away from it you go, and a lot of us born in big cities and things like that don't even know we're that unhealthy until the first time I went to the Caribbean, the first time I went to Barbados, I was 8. And I was old enough to realise they look healthier than us. Everyone just looked all shiny to me as a little 8-year-old. Like, you didn't see obese people. I mean, things have changed now because all of the world has been infiltrated with, you know, fast food and all that stuff. But they looked better than us. They were naturally slim. Their skin was glowing. You know, people just had an air about them. And at the time, I didn't know I'm an empath and I could feel energy and rah, rah, rah. But now I know that's what I was picking up on as well as a child, was that likely their vibration and everything was stronger and brighter because they're eating fresh food off the land. They're dipping their toes in the ocean, in the sea. You know, they're walking everywhere. They got the downloads all the time from the sun.
Yeah.
And they're probably walking barefoot a lot because they do that in Jamaica. Like, shoes are not required.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
100%. Because when we were little children, we would be outside with mum barefoot. Mum never wore shoes in the garden when she was gardening or on the drive. Or it's only as we got older we started to put shoes on. But we were always barefoot as children. Just because, like you say, Emmanuel, that's what she did and what she was used to.
Grounded.
Yeah. All these natural things. So it makes sense what you said. When you're writing on paper, you're writing on trees or you're writing on a papyrus or, you know?
Yeah.
Staying connected with nature.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I like that.
So this right about now piece is inspired by the theme for our next podcast episode about self. And I think of myself and who am I really? Who am I? Am I the name that I call myself? No, because others share the same name and we are not the same. Am I the thoughts I have? How can I be? To be is to exist, occur, or show the characteristics of something. Now we're cooking with grease. I must be a being. But what brought me into being? My parents, whose parents brought them into existence, whose parents brought them into existence, whose parents brought... Wait. Who's keeping track of all this? I should get on the track and record this. I recall whispers from a past life say it was written in my DNA to be this way, certified at birth in accordance with the cosmic DBA. We doing business as per humans do. As per usual, we move from the being to the doing in the moment, present to the task at hand. As these thoughts go from the mind of man, leave lead stains on the page and ideas conveyed from a language that's broken, stolen from the colonizer's tongue. I do my best to express myself while taking away the shackles of post-traumatic slave syndrome. That ain't where we came from. Searching for the start. How do I impart the view to make a people move with a renewed sense of pride? Maybe I should start with myself. And who am I to have the notion that words spoken in rhyme could lead ones to reason about the season? We in uncharted territory, behind enemy lines, under friendly fire, bartering souls for worldly desires, living like time won't expire until a pound of flesh is required. That's when we remember that there's a power that's higher, and I'm far from sanctimonious. Never claimed to be the holiest, only a dot on the I, if that, a grain in the sands of time, having a tick-tock experience. The clock keeps clocking, and time waits for no one, and time is the master. So if I master time, who am I? What about time as the father and Mother Nature giving birth to the creation myth I brought a lifetime subscription to? Mind blown, Big Bang, busting off like interstellar, unprotected sex, raw as the day I was born. In the mind, I am I. You see what I'm saying? That could easily be something shared on the
Easily.
That was so dope. Oh my God.
Say that again. I didn't have my headphones in. Well, over the course of the time that we had. Thank you very much.
Just now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just now. That's why I love right about now. I always come up with something fresh, and
Tell me about
the next open mic that I go to, I'm gonna perform this as I did with the last piece.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That is so
Victoria, you're looking fly, by the way.
Yeah, I love them shades.
Thank you. I'm on my way to work. Wah wah. But thank you.
Yeah, but you transformed. You're a transformer. That's amazing. Yeah, do you know what? This space for me as well. I'm using it, you have to wait. I'm recording. Bounce. Sorry, my daughter wants to charge her. She has to wait. Yeah, same here. It's all because I'm forced to sit here and I'm forced to write, and I know that other people, I can't sit here and pretend to write. That's just a pity. So I have to actually do it. And what's come out of me as well. Shall I read you what I've done?
Yes, please.
So I am performing this, but I'm going to read it because I don't know how I'm going to perform it, and it will force me to not just read it. Sometimes I get lazy, or not lazy, it's just time. But I don't really like just reading poetry. As yourself, it's music really activates what I'm doing. So when I just read something, I feel like it's like 50% of it. So, not as layered as yours. Yours had everything in there. But I put, imagine a life without mirrors, no reflections of imperfections or scrutinizing minute parts and comparison. Go inside, go deep, look inward, truth seek. Breathe deep, exhale slow, smell the roses, take a stroll. Put those toes on earth, fast and take control. Without mirrors, I see my reflection. Without eyes, I hold vision. Within walls, fly free. Where doors close, use your key. Eyes are thrice, lies divide. Frequency is your frequently. Higher vibes emanate out from inside, above and below, within and without. Clarity shouts when quiet is clout. Listen and observe, manage reserves, and never, hear me, ever put others in front of the love for self that you hold. Don't be good, be true. Don't impress, be you. Authentic moves are the only proof to prove. Self. I equals we equals they equals why. Why equals how equals if equals when. Sin is committed to self within. See stars at night through closed lids tight. Hold the child inside close, loving them more than they'll ever know. Loving them strong enough to grow, cuddling away the cold, embraced in warmth, in love we know. A forgotten mind just awoke. Ancestors whisper DNA codes. Spirit guides move in tandem, dancing maps into mind like ships in the night. You are not alone, although you are. We are all connected while all apart. Experiential knowledge, esoteric explorations from the heart, unknown knowns known from the start. Explore, discover, experiment, deliver, self.
Hey, I don't know what you were saying about it not being layered, because it had, I think it's a connection that we share when we're in these spaces.
Yeah.
Because I heard what you said about the DNA and the whispers, and it's not like we threw, you know, lines at each other like, I'm gonna write about this, and it appears in yours as well. And something that stood out to me was sin is committed to the self within. I'm like, oh man, yeah,
It's
fire.
I'm always trying to explain to my daughters that you are making your reality, but it's such a piece of knowledge. It is only experiential. You know, this whole life thing, you can't always explain or describe, can you?
Right. It is experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing is believing. So if they don't see it in front of them, they're like, yeah, you saying it, but where's the proof of it?
100%. And not to go on one, but we've had an experience recently where it's racial discrimination and harassment, and it broke my heart the way my daughters had to be involved in this situation, because really they were coming for me, but my daughters were with me. This was the day of the show, actually.
Oh wow!
And it's just some little insignificant being that I happen to terrify just with my energy, because I didn't actually say much, but because they didn't know what they were doing, they got defensive and started to, you know, act all mad. And I'm sitting there calm and quiet, and the girls are sitting there calm and quiet. And as a result of all this that's been going on since the show, because this woman is harassing, and she's harassing through my child, not through me, because she can't get to me. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just heartbreaking for her to have to experience it. But the Most High, when I'm reflecting, just keeps saying to me, this is how she's going to learn. It's you can't keep them in a bubble, and you're right to her, and you're teaching her. So that's at least she's getting this here with you right now, before, because she's about to leave home, as you know.
Yes.
You know, but we, you know, like you say, Emmanuel, it's experiential, but you don't want them to experience nothing.
Nah. Yeah, we want to do our best to have them protected.
Yes, exactly. But you know, in talking about experience, is that not my writing is in the trunk right now, but my writing was about self and the development of self.
Okay.
And how as a baby, a lot of times we go through trauma and it separates us from ourselves. Because I have a belief that when we are born a perfect self. And that if we're allowed to evolve and experience and transform and transmute those experiences, is how we develop into our final form, maybe. And so experiences are so important. And I was apologizing to my son as a parent the other day, because he's 26 years old, and he was telling me how he didn't feel comfortable with conflict resolution. And when I look back on how I raised him, I used avoidance. Instead of being in a conflict with you, I'm just going to go away. I'm going to go over here. And that's not always going to work in every situation. And so I was apologizing. He was like, no, you raised me very well. And I'm like, yeah, here I am almost 60 years old, and I'm still trying to unpack trauma and how, it impacted me and how it separated me from myself. And I feel like I've spent my whole life trying to return to myself, to the original person that I was born to be. And I feel like the current experience, actually every experience that I've ever had, has led me to returning to myself. All of the trauma and bad experiences actually led me to returning to myself. So Mama, I just want to encourage you. I know we want to hold our babies and hug them, and Papa too, and not have them go through experiences, but just imagine she's experiencing it in the warmth and the love of her mom, right? So when she goes out in the world, she can remember. She's not going to look at what you said. She's going to look at how you reacted. She's going to see that you remain calm, and that when it was time, you knew you had to get the police involved and things of that nature. So you're teaching her how to navigate this world, because it can be cruel. And that's what I was apologizing for. I was like, oh my gosh, I was too overprotective. But my son is like, no, I was trying to keep my son's self intact and not let it be torn apart from him like mine was done, when I went through my trauma as a child. So that's what my writing was about this morning. And how the other thing, and I'm gonna stop rambling, is self. Currently, just think about how the kids have to evolve and learn. And I give the example of a baby. A baby learns how to walk, but the only way the baby learns how to walk is they have to fall, and they have to cry, and they get up and they try it again. So now just take that same, I guess, metaphor, I don't know what it is, and apply it to how children have to develop and learn. Now, whatever you do online, if you're making a mistake and it's part of your natural process to experiment, experience, grow, and evolve, it could be labeled cringeworthy. So now there's a lot of shame around people. When a lot of us were growing up, there was no social media, there were no camera phones. And so we were able to make mistakes. Maybe you went out and you drank too much, and the next day you were hungover and your friend held your hair or head or whatever while you were. See, that wasn't on social media, but you knew the next time, I'm not going to drink like that. You know what I'm saying? In other words, we're able to explore and learn and experience. Ooh, that hurt. I'm not going to do that again. Ooh, that didn't feel too good. Ooh, I like that. I mean, this is part of what it means to be a human being, and I literally see that being stripped away from people. So I know it's, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying not to be preachy and just stick to sharing my experiences, and just the fact that this is how we develop ourselves. We experience, we grow, we learn, we cry, we heal, I don't know, it's just what makes life so wonderful, and just celebrating all versions of myself, even the ones that I feel like were projected onto me. Because when I spent my whole life trying to return to myself. The only information I had is what other people sent to me, or told me, what my church told me, what my parents told me, what the teacher told me, what somebody who knows nothing about me told me about myself. And those were the things that I use to judge myself. Now I know that I have to put... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You
I'm
finish.
done.
Sorry.
No, I'm done. I was going to say, and this is what I feel like returning to the self has been about, really getting back to who the creator originally wanted me to be, and how I should fulfill my purpose on earth. Because I really do believe that it's random, but it's also very specific, my reason for being here. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry I'm rambling, y'all, and trying to drive at the same time.
And this is why I value your presence always, because you got wisdom, Victoria, and you've hit on and like Emmanuel said, there's something about this space and the synchronicity that happens when we come together, because there's a lot that you just said there that I have been addressing in my mind and in my heart in the last couple of weeks. And even you coming on here and talking about the nervous system, that's all I've been focusing on really, is the nervous system, in tandem with what Tania taught us about breathing, because I've really realized how shallow my breaths are. So I'm doing deep breathing in meditation, and I can go about 10 minutes doing the really, really deep breathing, and I built it up to 15 yesterday, and I'm like, I should be able to do this for an hour. The fact that I'm like, it shouldn't be a struggle. But it's a struggle because I've been going around shallow breathing. But, all that, what you said there is so profound about we're born perfect. Then we experience trauma. And then we spend our life trying to get back to ourselves. That is so deep. You know what I mean? That's so deep, especially when you hear things like, and doing the work I used to do, that really adverse childhood trauma. Because that, I haven't experienced that, but I've worked to support people that have experienced that. And the truth of it is, and my mom said it as well as a social worker, some people will never, ever get over it. Will never, ever get over it. You know what I'm saying? So, everything you just said was, and I am grateful for what you just said, especially as a mother.
Likewise. Yeah, because the bumps and the bruises are a part of it, right?
Yes, it is. And we just have to know how to transmute those into things that are going to help us develop or, fully stand in our selfhood. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm learning. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, sorry, go ahead.
No, and I was just going to say, so I'm so glad. I'm sorry your daughters had to experience that, but I wouldn't have wanted them to experience it with a better person, because I know how much you care about them and their development and them being healthy. But this is a reality that we face, don't we, as brown and black and whatever color of hue, we don't want to, you would think in 2025, our children, don't have to see this kind of stuff, but they do. So kudos for you. I encourage you, do what you got to do, because they do need to see that it's important to care for, create boundaries, advocate for self, because that's what was taken from, that's what trauma took away from me. It took away my boundaries. It took away my ability to advocate for myself. It took away my ability to know when, oh, wait a minute, this person is mistreating me and I want to take action. I mean, you would think at 60, I would not still have question marks in my mind. But literally, this job I have, it's like I am having to figure out how I'm going to deal with setting boundaries with people. And a lot of these people are just, I'm dealing with the public, so you know how that goes. Some people may be evolved, and there's a lot of people that are still in the infantile state or whatever state the trauma happened at. If it was 5, 13 or whatever, sometimes the man could be, or the woman can be 50 years old, but
it's like I'm dealing with a 13-year-old. So
yeah, and you know that your age group, because Emmanuel and I are a similar age group. Your age group were more deeply programmed in obedience.
yes,
You know, and there was more
Yes.
of that beating with switches and belts, and you know,
yes,
we had more freedom, our generation, because
Yeah.
we're the children of that. So like my mom was never going to beat me with a belt or, you know, take a switch off a tree or, you know, and we had a bit more room to be, because that you guys had experienced what you've experienced.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I can imagine, because I've observed that in some of my elders, just
Mm-hmm.
the challenge to break and be free, because in truth, I don't think she minds me talking about her. In truth, my mom is a very different person to who she was when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Very different. She's changed a lot over the years. And for me, I think it is breaking off those chains of disciplined childhood and the church and, you know, all these really restrictive and societal things, and a woman's role,
Yes.
man's role, and, you know,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
I think-
absolutely. And go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to add, for us in the United States, we don't even realize how much slavery influences how we work, how we treat one another, how we think about ourselves. A lot of this stuff is unlearned slavery and the propaganda that was taught to us. That's why I feel like I'm not a baby boomer. I'm actually a Gen Xer. I'm right on the cusp. But I think that's the baby boomers were closer to, you know, all of that slavery training.
Oh yeah.
You know, as the generations go on, they know less and less about all of that. And now we're getting to a point of where we are like, no, that doesn't work. I love millennials and the Gen Alphas. I think that's who they are, because they don't play. Their parents don't treat them right. They're doing the no contact, and they don't care. And they're not upset. They're not hurt. So you're right. Each generation is learning and growing and getting further and further away from programming that comes from colonization, basically, because it happens in the diaspora, wherever there are brown people, they've had some degree of brainwashing or propaganda or programming about themselves that is incorrect. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, and to wrap it up, I would like to add, and of course I agree with everything you just said, with my parents coming from the Caribbean, and, you know, my great grandparents working the plantations. And mom used to say, mom has said when she came to England, she thought all English people were going to be like what she saw in the Caribbean, because they would have to call the children of the plantation owners master and miss or whatever, and that if they saw them, they'd have to say good afternoon master or whatever. So they expected to come here and see affluence, and they didn't have any awareness that there was working class white people, that the working class white people were treated badly as well. You know what I mean? Didn't have opportunities, you know, because this England is a very class system. But I was just going to say as well, for me, what I also realised with this situation that my daughters had to experience, that on the highest of levels in meditation and meditating on it, it was God, the Most High, putting me through the test, you know, because I swear to God, if I broke it down to you, right, I can't believe my self-control in that situation. Me and Obe were talking about it yesterday. There was a point where a member of staff was literally stood over me, and I'm like 5'2", and this individual was like 5'7", standing over me, talking at me. And the old me would have gone, get out my face, or the old me might have done one of them moves. The new me, because I got my daughters anchoring me, flanking me, and their energy keeping me calm as well, in truth, because a big part of my being able to cope with the high level of antagonism that they threw at me was my two little angels either side of me, because they held it down. They couldn't have represented me any better. They didn't talk, they just remained positive, and you know, they weren't them kind of teenagers that get involved and say, don't talk to my mum like that, and they know better than that. You know, mom's got this, mom's handling it, just make sure you hold yourself properly. And these are the kind of people that will call the police on us. You know, they knew all that because I've put it into, they're prepared for that. Because if my daughters are getting arrested by police for nothing, then we're in a whole nother situation, you know. But it's good to be able to look at the whole thing and go, on a spiritual level, what's God trying to show me? That you've grown and you're stronger and you've got more self-control, and this is an opportunity to teach your daughters how to manage these kinds of situations in real time, you know. But yeah, I have to give myself a medal because I could have kicked off in that place, mate. I could have kicked off. So yeah, it's been wonderful, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.